guys, what are we gonna do today? Take any paper you've got and look what we're gonna transform it into. Look how fun. So any paper you have, you can change and do something fun like this. Let's get started. What I'm starting with is a fun sheet of paper. It doesn't all have to match. You can use different sheets of paper, but what you're wanting to do is cut out a lot of different blocks. You can have squares, rectangles, bigger, smaller, and we are going to collage them onto another sheet of paper. So you want a piece of cardstock, or you could even do it on a wood board or whatever you would like. I am just cutting random squares and rectangles. So I decided I'm going to add just a little contrast color to this, but I'm going to cut another color and to start chopping some pieces. And when you get going on this, you'll see what you need, and you can cut other pieces also. Okay, we are going to start gluing these pieces down. So I'm just going to use Mod Podge. You can use whatever your favorite decoupage medium is, and I am just going to start laying pieces down on here. So all I'm really doing is just overlapping things and getting a fun shapes and images that overlap. It's giving it interest. Some things are almost getting completely covered, but you're still getting to see what's in here. It's just a different effect. And I don't want anything in here too symmetrical. I don't want them to be exactly lined up. I want them all off a little bit. So some of these are going over the edge, but I'll just trim them off when this dries up a little bit. I'm going to let this dry really quick, and then I'm going to put a sealer on it, and then we're going to paint it. So now that this is dry, I'm going to trim these edges real quick. Now if I decided to turn these into tags, even the back would be pretty with this paper on it. Now I'm going to seal this with a water-based sealer. I'm using Minwax polyacrylic, and it's a gloss. Put a nice coat of this on the whole thing. Okay, so let's let this dry and then we'll move on. So this is dry now, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a layer of grayish black paint. I'm using my DIY paint, Old School and Little Black Dress. I'm gonna mix them together a bit. And this is the paint I would use. This is a clay-based paint, so it will rub back, and that's why I'm doing this. You might want to be really careful with other paints. I just know it works really well with the DIY paint. So what's fun with this is you really almost don't even have to let it dry, but I'm just gonna let it set for just a moment, and then we're gonna wipe it back. So now I am gonna start rubbing back. And I know this looks scary. You're like, oh my gosh, I just covered all those wonderful images. So I'm using a baby wipe, but look at this. Can you see it coming through? You know, you could probably use a damp paper towel, but I haven't tried that. I think the baby wipes work amazing. And they're fairly inexpensive. So that's probably what I would do. You can see how it's filling in around the edges. And that's what I'm wanting. I did another piece where I used decoupage paper, but I put it on to a heavy cardstock. So it's definitely had more 3D dimensions. So the thicker the paper that you are going to decoupage, the more depth you're going to have on your piece. And if your baby wipe's too full of black paint, you need to get a new one because all you're doing is spreading the black paint around. So I can tell when I get a clean one and go over something, it really brightens it up. Well, you can see some of the black that's still in here, but you can really see how it outlines around the edges on here, and that's what I really wanted it to do. If it wasn't enough, you could always add a little more black in there. So if you had a thicker cardstock, you would even see better outlines around all of these pieces. So I'm going to take my polyurethane again and go over this, and it will brighten it back up. So now you want to make sure you let this dry, and you are done. You could use this as a full page. If you put it on a wood board, you would be finished. You could even cut it up and make it into tags. So didn't you think this was fun? You know what? It was really relaxing. You just chop up paper, and you just chop up whatever size you want, and you just put it all down. To me, I thought this was such a fun, relaxing project. I hope you guys give this a try. I'd love to see what you do, but whatever you do, have fun.